Here is a truth so uncomfortable that most spend a lifetime avoiding it. The greatest motivator for human achievement is not love, not ambition, not even fear. It is the quiet, constant awareness that we will die. Every masterpiece in human history, every act of courage, every tender moment of connection was created under the same immutable deadline. We are all artists working on a canvas that is slowly, steadily being taken away. And yet, we live as if we have forever. We delay, we distract, we settle for faint copies of our true visions. But what if this deadline is not a cruel joke, but the very tool that carves meaning into our days? What if death is the silent collaborator in every urgent, beautiful thing we ever do? I learned this through brokenness. For years, I built a life that looked impressive from the outside, but felt hollow within. I chased goals set by others, accumulated trophies that gathered dust, and muted the inner voice with a steady stream of noise. I was successful and deeply lost. The shift came not with a crash, but with a slow leak. A gradual realization that I was living a postponement. I was saving my real self for a future date that might never arrive. The internal conflict was a silent scream beneath a polished surface. I endured it. I waited in that stagnant space, hoping for a sign, a lightning bolt of clarity. It never came. Instead, it arrived as a whisper. In the deepest part of my endurance, in the weary patience that comes after all fighting is done, a single, clear thought emerged. It was not dramatic. It was a quiet fact. My time here is finite. This is not a rehearsal. This is the performance. And in that moment, everything changed. Not everything around me, but everything within me. This was the one change. It was not about altering habits or setting goals. It was an irreversible awakening to a fundamental truth. My identity shifted from someone who was waiting to live to someone who was finally, urgently, alive. It was a metamorphosis born not from fantasy, but from the sober acceptance of ashes. This one change is the pivot point of a lifetime. It is the understanding that suffering is not a sign of failure, but the friction required for shaping. It is the patience of a deep root growing in darkness, not weakness, but a relentless gathering of strength. It is the rebirth that happens not in a blaze of glory, but in the quiet, daily decision to rise from the remnants of who you used to be. When you internalize the deadline, your entire relationship with time transforms. Minutes stop slipping through your fingers. They become clay in your hands. You stop asking for more time and start insisting on more meaning from the time you have. Your life becomes an urgent masterpiece, not because you are painting faster, but because every stroke is deliberate. Every color is chosen with care. You see that the masterpiece is not a finished product to be unveiled at the end. The masterpiece is the act of creation itself. It is the conversation you have, the kindness you offer, the work you do with focus, the love you allow yourself to feel and give. The deadline imposes a frame, and within that frame, every element matters. The empty spaces, the bold lines, the subtle shades, all of it is essential. Without the frame, the work would be endless and ultimately without form or impact. This is the silent endurance that leads to awakening. It is the long waiting in the dark for the seed to crack. It is the internal conflict that forges integrity. And it culminates in a shift so quiet you might almost miss it, a final turn of a key in a lock you didn't know you carried. You stop living as a ghost in a future that never comes and become a sculptor in the present moment. You work with the material of now. Your joy, your grief, your passion, your stillness, all of it is part of the composition. The deadline does not call for frenzy. It calls for presence. It asks for your full attention to the piece you are creating, right here, right now. So if you are listening in the stillness of your own night, if you feel the weight of unlived dreams, or the whisper of a purpose not yet embraced, hear this. The clock is ticking, and that is your gift. It is the pressure that turns coal into diamond. It is the limit that inspires ingenuity. It is the frame that makes the art possible. You do not need to overhaul your entire existence. You need one change in perception, one change in courage, one change that allows you to hold the fragility of your life, not with fear, but with reverence. Let that change be your axis. Let it turn your world toward the light. Keep going. Keep building. Do not be afraid of the slow work, the patient shaping, the silent endurance. This is how masterpieces are made, not in a single burst, but in countless dedicated moments, under the gentle, relentless reminder of the deadline. Make your one change. Then pick up your tools, your attention, your love, your action, and tend to the urgent masterpiece that is your life. The world is waiting, not for your perfection, but for your authentic, heartfelt stroke upon the collective canvas. Begin.